भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter number 12, Text 19. ब्राह्मणा ऊचुः पार्थ प्रजापिता साक्षात् इक्ष्वाकुरिव मानवः ब्रह्मण्य सत्यसन्धश्च रामो दाशरथिर्यथा। Translation and purport by Srimad Bhagavatam Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation. The learned Brahmana said, O son of Pritha, this child shall be exactly like King Ikshvaku, son of Manu, in maintaining all those who are born. And as for following the Brahminical principles, especially in being true to his promise, he shall be exactly like Rama, the personality of Godhead, the son of Maharaj Dasharatha. Please repeat. The learned Brahmana said, O son of Pritha, this child shall be exactly like King Ikshvaku, son of Manu, in maintaining all those who are born. And as for following the Brahminical principles, especially in being true to his promise, he shall be exactly like Rama, the personality of Godhead, the son of Maharaj Dasharatha. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Praja means the living being who has taken his birth in the material world. Actually, the living being has no birth and no death. But because of his separation from the service of the Lord and due to his desire to lord it over material nature, he is offered a suitable body to satisfy his material desires. In doing so, one becomes conditioned by the laws of material nature, and the material body is changed in terms of his own work. The living entity thus transmigrates from one body to another in 8,400,000 species of life. But due to his being the part and parcel of the Lord, he not only is maintained with all necessities of life by the Lord, but also is protected by the Lord and his representatives, the saintly kings. These saintly kings give protection to all the prajas, all living beings, to live and to fulfill their terms of imprisonment. Maharaj Parikshit was actually an ideal saintly king because while touring the kingdom, he happened to see that a poor cow was about to be killed by the personified Kali, whom he at once took to task as a murderer. This means that even the animals were given protection by the saintly administrators, not from any sentimental point of view, but because those who have taken their birth in the material world have the right to live. All the saintly kings, beginning from the king of the sun globe down to the king of the earth, are so inclined by the influence of Vedic literatures. The Vedic literatures are taught in higher planets also, as there is reference in the Bhagavad Gita 4.1 about the teachings to the sun god Vivaswan by the Lord, and such lessons are transferred by disciplic succession, as it was done by the sun god to his son Manu, and from Manu to Maharaj Ikshvaku. There are 14 Manus in one day of Brahma, And the Manu referred to herein is the seventh Manu, who is one of the Prajapatis, those who create progeny, and he is the son of the sun god. He is known as the Vaivasvata Manu. He had 10 sons, and Maharaj Ikshvaku is one of them. Maharaj Ikshvaku also learned Bhakti Yoga as taught in the Bhagavad Gita from his father Manu, who got from his father the sun god. Later on, the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita came down by disciplic succession. Later on, the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita came down by disciplic succession from Maharaj Ikshvaku, but in course of time the chain was broken by unscrupulous persons, and therefore it again had to be taught to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So all the Vedic literatures are current from the very beginning of creation of the material world, and thus the Vedic literatures are known as Apaurisheya, not made by man. The Vedic knowledge was spoken by the Lord and first heard by Brahma, the first created living being within the universe, Maharaja Ikshvaku. One of the sons of Vaivasvata Manu, he had 100 sons. He prohibited meat eating. His son Shashada became the next king after his death. Manu. The Manu mentioned in this verse as the father of Ikshvaku is the seventh Manu of the name Vaivasvata Manu, the son of sun god Vivasvan, to whom Lord Krishna instructed the teachings of Bhagavad Gita prior to his teaching them to Arjuna. Mankind is the descendant of Manu. This Vaivasvata Manu had 10 sons named Ikshvaku, Nabhaga, Drishta, Sharyati, Narishyanta, Nabhaga, Dishta, Karusha, Prishadhara, and Vasuma. The Lord's incarnation, Matsya, the gigantic fish, was advented during the beginning of Vaivasvata Manu's reign. He learned the principles of Bhagavad Gita from his father Vivasvan, the sun god, and he reinstructed the same to his son Maharaja Ikshvaku. In the beginning of the Treta Yuga, the sun god instructed devotional service to Manu, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku for the welfare of the whole human society. Lord Rama. The Supreme Personality of Godhead incarnated himself as Shri Rama, accepting the sonhood of his pure devotee Maharaja Dasharatha, the king of Ayodhya. Lord Rama descended along with his plenary portions, and all of them appeared as his younger brothers. In the month of Chaitra, on the 9th day of the growing moon in the Treta Yuga, the Lord appeared as usual to establish the principles of religion and to annihilate the disturbing elements. When he was just a young boy, he helped the great sage Vishwamitra by killing Subahu and striking Maricha, the she-demon, who was disturbing the sages in their daily discharge of duties. The Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are meant to cooperate for the welfare of the mass of people. The Brahmana sages endeavor to enlighten the people by perfect knowledge, and the Kshatriyas are meant for their protection. Lord Ramachandra is the ideal king for maintaining and protecting the highest culture of humanity, known as Brahmanya Dharma. The Lord is specifically the protector of the cows and the Brahmanas, and hence he enhances the prosperity of the world. He rewarded the administrative demigods by effective weapons to conquer the demons through the agency of Vishwamitra. He was present in the bow sacrifice of King Janaka, and by breaking the invincible bow of Shiva, he married Sita Devi, daughter of Maharaj Janaka. After his marriage, he accepted exile in the forest for 14 years by the order of his father Maharaj Dasharatha. To help the administration of the demigods, he killed 14,000 demons and by the intrigues of the demons, his wife Sita Devi was kidnapped by Ravana. He made friendship with Sugriva, who was helped by the Lord to kill Vali, brother of Sugriva. By the help of Lord Rama, Sugriva became the king of the Vanaras, a race of gorillas. The Lord built a floating bridge of stones on the Indian Ocean and reached Lanka, the kingdom of Ravana, who had kidnapped Sita. Later on, Ravana was killed by him, and Ravana's brother Vibhishana was installed on the throne of Lanka. Vibhishana was one of the brothers of Ravana, a demon, but Lord Rama made him immortal by his blessings. On the expiry of 14 years after settling the affairs at Lanka, the Lord came back to his kingdom Ayodhya by flower plain. He instructed his brother Shatrugna to attack Lavanasura, who reigned at Mathura, and the demon was killed. He performed 10 Ashwamedha sacrifices, and later on he disappeared by taking bath in the Sharayu river. The great epic Ramayana is the history of Lord Rama's activities in the world, and the authoritative Ramayana was written by the great poet Valmiki. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In the previous verse, Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking all the Brahmanas who had assembled to foretell the future of Parikshit Maharaj. He asked, O great souls, will Yudhishthira Maharaj become as saintly as a king? Will he become a Raja Rishi? Will he be Punya Shloka? As pious in his very name? And will he become famous and glorified in his achievements as others who appeared in this great royal family? Like the ancestor Raja Rishis who appeared in Parikshit Maharaj's family, will he also follow their footsteps and will he be glorified in all his achievements? In reply to that question, now Brahmanas are mentioning, O son of Pritha, O Yudhishthira Maharaj, this child shall be exactly like king. 2 points they are mentioning. One point is that he will be similar to Ikshvaku. Second point is he will be similar to Lord Ram. So he is similar to Ikshvaku. Ikshvaku is the son of Manu, Vaivasvata Manu, 7th Manu, and who is the Vaivasvata Manu is the son of sun god Vivasvana. Now he will be similar to King Ikshvaku in maintaining all the Praja Avita. Whoever has taken birth in his kingdom, he is going to maintain them very nicely. Second point is Brahmanya Satyasandascha Ramo Dasharathi Yatha. He will be similar to Lord Ram, who is the son of Dasharath Maharaj, specifically in following the Brahminical principles and being true in his promise. Satyasandha. We have a devotee named Satyasandha. Satyasandha means being true in his promise. You make a lot of promises, but after you make promise while giving a speech, after that all the promises are forgotten. It's not like that. If a king makes a promise, he has to ensure that he satisfies people by fulfilling those promises. He will be exactly like Lord Ram, especially in cooperating with the Brahmanas in maintaining the Brahmanical principles and being true in his promise. So being true in his promise is one of the Brahmanical principles. Prabhupada is mentioning here that how Vaivasvata Manu is the seventh Manu among the 14 Manus in one day of Brahma. In the fourth chapter, Krishna explains to Arjuna, Evam parampara praptam imam rajarishyo viduhu sakale nehamahata yogo nashta parantapa. He said, this knowledge which I am going to explain to you now, it has been received by disciplic succession, evam parampara praptam. Who has received it? Evam parampara praptam rajarishyo viduhu. So these rajarishis, the saintly kings, have received it in disciplic succession. Sakale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. This yoga became nashta, became polluted, contaminated as it was passed on by disciplic succession at one point of time in the history. So to re-establish the original essence of Bhagavad Gita which has been lost, now again I am going to speak you the same Bhagavad Gita which was spoken 120 million years ago at the starting of Treta Yuga. So then Krishna explains, Imam vivasvate yogam proktamanaham avyayam vivasvan manave praha manur ishvakave abravit. He is saying this knowledge I explained it to sun god Vivasvan. And sun god Vivasvan explained it to his son Manu. And that Manu is Vaivasvata Manu. And he explained it to his son Ikshvaku. So this is what is the link. Lord Ram appeared in Treta Yuga as a son of Dasharatha Maharaj, his pure devotee. So all these Kshatriyas, all these Rajarishis have a peculiar or a specific important character as a Rajarishi, and they were all followers of Vedic principles. Because this Vedic knowledge was imparted to all the Kshatriyas all over the universe. It is not only meant for earthly planet. Even Vedic knowledge was imparted to sun god Vivasvan in sun planet. So it means Vedic knowledge is all pervading. From the beginning of the creation, this Vedic knowledge was imparted to Brahma. And because before the creation Vedic knowledge existed, this is called as Apaurushaya. It is not created by any man. Because human being means he is part of this material world. But this knowledge and Supreme Lord who gave this knowledge both existed before the creation. Now in Vedic time measurements, there are specific time cycles which are mentioned. From the smallest time cycle to the largest time cycle, there are many overlaps. And time span of one universe is equal to the lifespan of Lord Brahma, who is the first created living entity in this universe. Just like we all get up in the morning, attend Mangala Aarati, finish our Bhagavatam class, and then we go quickly for prasadam, and then we have our regular duties, assigned duties, and then we come back, we are exhausted, go to bed, and then we keep doing that. Lord Brahma also has specific duties to perform. His body is more of, the substance in his body is more of intelligence, because he is the creator, secondary creator. He has to keep creating every day different bodies for different living entities. Now, his 12 hours is equivalent to 1000 Mahayugas. So you can imagine, we are in Kali Yuga, and this Kali Yuga is having a certain number of years, and on the 4 yugas combined is called Mahayugas, and such 1000 cycles is 1 day of Brahma, 12 hours of Brahma. In that 12 hours, Brahma is getting up, freshening up, then having his prasadam, then going to his duties, create so many bodies in the universe for different souls, and then tired and exhausted, his one kalpa, his 1 day, he goes to bed. Because he has so much of creative action. People say that if you use your intelligence, the energy consumed is more than gross actions, physical actions. So he has to create so many living entities. So he has to take rest for equal amount of hours, 12 hours, and that is also called one kalpa. So we will try to understand from the lowest span of time in terms of earthly years, going up to the lifespan of Brahma, how everything is very nicely coordinated by the Lord, and how this relative time is working on different dimensions on different planets. So assuming earthly years, we have our day, we have 12 months, 365 days and 100 years. Now from earthly years point of view, there is something called Mahayuga, which is a combination of Kali Yuga, then Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga and Satya Yuga. So Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga, all the yugas, the number of years are divided in ratio of 4:3:2:1. So Kali Yuga span is 4,32,000 years. And each yuga has certain characteristics which is mentioned in Bhagavatam. Satya Yuga is called as golden age. The number of years in Satya Yuga is 17,28,000 years. And what are the politics? What is the climate? What is the atmosphere existing in Satya Yuga? Anybody who wants to die, he has a choice whether he wants to die or not. He can will. Oh, so many years I have been existing, I am really bored, so let me die, then only he will die. Otherwise, he can go on existing. And the time span is 1 lakh years, minimum. So he can go on existing. If he wishes to die, then he can die. That is the climate in Satya Yuga. And in Satya Yuga, virtue reigns supreme. It means 100% people are religious. People are following very principles. You don't find any criminal there. Police department is not required. Because all of them are pious. And the height of living entities, it is mentioned, it is 21 cubits. Cubit means from the edge of middle finger till the elbow. So this length is called as cubit. So you can imagine what was the height of those people. Now if somebody is 6 feet or 7 feet, we say, oh, so tall. People were 21 cubits height. This height into 21. Accordingly, their health also would be in proper proportion. They would be fat, thin, whatever. So now, for people who have another type of mentality, so there is a facility which is called Treta Yuga, which is called Silver Age, 12,96,000 years, and 3/4 of the population are virtuous, 1/4 of the population are sinful. Then height of the people is 14 cubits. And the general lifespan is 10,000 years. In Dwapara Yuga, Bronze Age, 8,64,000 years. What could be the proportion, the climate, atmosphere, 50-50. 50% virtuous, 50% sinful. And people used to live for 1000 years. Cubits, I am not able to find out exactly that number. It will be in between lesser than 14 cubits, maybe around 7 or 8 cubits. Kali Yuga, it is generally called as Iron Age. We use a lot of iron, steel, so it's called as Iron Age. We generally don't use any other metal now, apart from iron, steel, everywhere we use this. So 3/4 of the population are sinful, 1/4 are virtuous. Height of the living entities, average is 3.5 cubits, around 6 feet. So people can live for 100 to 120 years. These are the characteristics. This is the cycle which is called as Mahayuga. Like 4 seasons in a year. These 4 seasons of yugas keep rotating, and 1000 cycles, 1000 such Mahayugas constitute one kalpa, 12 hours of Brahma, and 1000 Mahayugas Brahma sleeps. That is again 12 hours of Brahma. So 2000 Mahayugas or 2 kalpas Brahmas, it is 1 day and 1 night. So that is 1000 Mahayugas is equivalent to 4.32 billion years. Unimaginable. We are struggling for 60 years. 4.32 billion years is 1 day of Brahma. In that 4.32 billion years, Brahma gets up, takes bath and finishes his lunch, dinner, then breakfast, and does all his activities and then goes to sleep. Now, at the end of each day of Brahma, we are in Bhurloka. The planetary system above Bhurloka is Bhuvarloka. The planetary system above Bhuvarloka is Swargaloka. All these 3 planetary systems and the lower 7 planetary systems get temporarily destroyed, or a situation is created where people cannot inhabit. So that is called Pralaya. It is a temporary occasion which is occurring, which is called as Naimittika, which is incidental or occasional. And Vishnu Purana explains there is a dreadful drought for 100 earthly years after the day of Brahma concludes. Then the people in Bhuvarloka, Swargaloka, they flee away to higher planetary systems, Janaloka, Maharloka, because they are not able to tolerate the drought and the heat which is exhibited by the sun, which is what we are seeing. It produces heat 7 times the heat what it is producing now. We cannot bear. In summer season we cannot bear the heat of the sun. Here 45 degrees Celsius. 7 times that heat. 250 degrees Celsius. So people cannot bear. So they run away to other planets, because later on the mighty clouds form and then it will completely flood the entire region. The middle planetary system and the lower planetary system is completely filled with water. So then all the souls in this area, they lose their bodies and then they again reincarnate in the next day of Brahma. So this is how during that time when Brahma is sleeping, Vishnu also reposes on waters and goes for a meditative rest. Now Brahma like this is 1 day of Brahma. Imagine, Brahma lives like this for 100 years. 1 day of Brahma is 2 kalpas. He lives like that for 360 days, which is 1 year of Brahma. And like that 100 years. So total span is 72,000 kalpas or 311 trillion years. So then final pralaya happens, that is called as Mahapralaya. Everything is destroyed, inundated with water. Now, we have understood the Mahayuga cycle. Each kalpa is 1000 Mahayugas. Now another cycle which is called as Manvantara cycle, which will overlap these 1000 Mahayugas. And in each day of Brahma, in 1000 Mahayugas, there are 14 Manus who appear. And each Manu stays for 71 Mahayugas. And between each and every Manu's appearance, we call the time span, the lifespan of each Manu as Manvantara. That 71 Mahayugas, we call it as Manvantara. So between each Manvantara, there is a deluge. The entire area is filled with water and it gets destroyed, except few people who are going to again create inhabitation. So, on a very higher scale, so many things are happening which we don't know and we have not understood, and we don't have access to that information until unless we read Vedic literatures. Let us understand our position now in our universe. Bhagavatam explains Lord Brahma, he is in the which birthday? 51st year. Brahma is now in the 51st year of his existence, and it is the first day of this year, Jan 1st for him. In this first day, this is called as Varaha Kalpa, this first day of Brahma. In this first day of Brahma, there is a seventh Manu, seventh Manvantara, his name is Vaivasvata Manu. And in that Manvantara, 28th Mahayuga is going on. So, if you calculate, in this day, there has to be 100 Mahayugas. 454th Mahayuga is going on. It means it is afternoon time for him. And in that Mahayuga, we are in Kali Yuga. And 2000 AD, after death of Christ, 2000 AD is equivalent to 5100 years of Kali Yuga. So we have passed 5116 years of Kali Yuga. So more is yet to come for our experience. So you can imagine, where are we? How are we situated in Kali Yuga? And we are so much bothered about petty things in this 60 years or 80 years, 100 years span of life. Similarly, Brahma will be bothered about his own issues and challenges in his domain. And there are also known as Deva Varshas or heavenly years. Our 1 year is 1 day and 1 night of Devi Devatas in Swargaloka. And they live like that for 10,000 years. So it's a bewildering creation, how Lord has created such a design where everyone can exist in his own domain of number of years, of 100 years. If you see an ant life, it is performing all the tasks of eating, sleeping, mating, defending in that time which it exists. So, like this, the whole creation is going on perpetually. And that 100 years of Brahma is just 1 second of Mahavishnu. He exhales, he inhales, universe is created, universe is destroyed. You take one breath, In one breath, what will we be able to create? Nothing. So, Mahavishnu's one breath is creating one universe. Like that, from the deep skin pores of Mahavishnu, the golden eggs, as perspiration from his body, crop up, get created, and all the functions, whatever is supposed to happen, it will happen and go back. So here if you see, in spite of all this huge creative action going on, we will understand that Vedic literatures and the guidance from the Lord by himself or through his Raja Rishis, his representatives, continuously exist throughout the creation. Either the Lord himself comes and protects the citizens, Praja, or his representative, Raja Rishi, will protect the citizens. So, in the recent past, we can see how under the Krishna's supervision, under Lord's guidance, there is continuous technological advancement happening. After Krishna departed from this world, 5000 years back, Krishna gave his Bhagavad Gita. Vyasadeva was existing at that time, and then in Krishna's plan, Buddha appeared to stop violence. He appeared in between 400 and 480 BC, before Christ. Then he sent Lord Shiva as Shankaracharya to re-establish the Vedic authority. That happened in 788 to 820 AD. Then to further establish that Vedic principles, the Vedic knowledge is not teaching impersonalism, it is teaching personalism. Lord is a person. For that, Ramanujacharya appeared in the year 1017 to 1137 AD. Then later on, to give us more higher understanding of the absolute truth, Madhvacharya appeared 1239 to 1319 AD. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in 1486, 500 years back, to give the highest revelation of the principle of absolute truth, Achintya Bheda Veda Tattva. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. Later on, during all these things, we can see there is a video made by one folk hostel of Bangalore, based on Chanchalapati Prabhu's class, how all the technological advancement and the social political situation or the crisis which existed in America, both of them conspired. It was a divine conspiracy where it paved the way for Srila Prabhupada to go to America and spread the message of Lord Chaitanya throughout the world. 500 years back, science has started its inventions, discoveries, and it went on producing typewriter, and then tape recorder, then flights, then many things. Now we have come to the e-commerce world. So all this technological advancement looks like as though it is only meant for propagating Krishna consciousness. So this is how in the Lord's plan always there is facility for the souls who have become conditioned by the material nature and have been perpetually getting material bodies one after another to satisfy their material desires, and they have come to lord over the material nature, even though they are not supposed to take birth and die, experience that suffering of birth, death, old age and disease. Lord, under His plan, in His project, there is always facility for the souls to take shelter of Vedic information, His devotees, His representative Raja Rishis, and make their life successful. So these are some of the points which we can learn, and lot of things Prabhupada has explained in the purport itself. So I stop here. If somebody has any questions, you can please ask. Yes,
Prabhu, in Satyuga, does old age and disease exist? Like death, you told it's on their will, they want to die, they'll die, otherwise they can prolong.
Yeah.
Like this, old age and disease is there in Satyuga?
People mostly they are all devotees, pious, and old age will be there, but old age will not be the way we are encountering in earthly planet in Kali Yuga, the way we are suffering here. In heavenly planetary systems, you don't see old age, death, the way we are seeing here. Even there, just they vanish from that place after they enjoy the reactions of all the pious credits what they have accumulated. Similarly, if people are all pious, they are enjoying the pious credits of their past. So, while they are enjoying the pious credits, they don't feel the pangs of the material nature of becoming old. Because of old, we encounter a lot of suffering. Because of diseases, we encounter a lot of suffering. So this kind of suffering is very less because 100% people are virtuous. But they become old. Not the way we become old. But they, through their yogic power, by their spiritual progress, they can keep themselves physically fit until the time they want to die. So these sages, they are existing for 60,000 years. Now, how can we imagine a person living for 60,000 years in our domain or in our paradigm in Kali Yuga? If people hear 60,000 years, person can live in Kali Yuga, he will imagine how he will live in Kali Yuga and extrapolate it for 60,000 years. He becomes frightened. No, there is so much of suffering. I don't want to live for 60,000 years. So the life which existed in Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga is in a different domain or a different plane of existence, and it cannot be mapped to the current plane of existence in Kali Yuga. Because many things which were available for Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, things are all forbidden in Kali Yuga. There is polygamy forbidden. Then Deva we call. So like that, many things are forbidden in Kali Yuga. So but they were all existing in the previous Yugas. We can ask how Draupadi, she was called Panchali, how she can have 5 husbands. Very difficult to understand. So in that way, the Satya Yuga domain, people's existence was on a different plane. Their activities, their consciousness, their mental makeup, these were all totally different and suitable for progressive path of spiritual realization. So they might be becoming old, but their body might be very fit. They might be looking always like a young man. And many of the rishis, sages who existed in Satya Yuga, mostly they were engaged in austerities, penances, and engaged in meditation. Because Krite yad dhyayato Vishnu. The self-realization for Kali Yuga, for Satya Yuga, Krita Yuga, is meditation on the Paramatma form of the Lord. So mostly they used to engage in penances, austerities. They never used to care for the body, material, gross body. And they can do interplanetary travel with their mind. So the existence was totally different. Yes.
Prabhu, the sinful person of the Kali Yuga, after the Kali Yuga, Satya Yuga will start. So how they will going to enter the Satya Yuga when all people are piety?
That's the mercy of the Lord who comes as Kalki. When he comes as Kalki on a white horse, there is no facility for preaching Krishna Katha or giving Bhagavad Gita. Because most of the people are, almost 99% people will be impious, sinful. Bhagavatam explains in the 12th canto that how Kali Yuga will be in full force and hardly human being will have some good qualities. Now itself it's if you keep reading the newspaper every day, you can understand how Kali Yuga's force is penetrating every nook and corner of Kali Yuga. If you see, things in India were unheard of, women smoking, women drinking openly. Now when we are all going to colleges, we see everywhere, every road, women are smoking along with the boys, sharing the cigarette. Recently there is one incident where women are one rich woman, young woman, she drank and she was driving Mercedes Benz. And then she hit one Ola cab. Later on that became a big issue and she paid compensation to him. And in Indore, when we were coming back, traveling from Bhopal to Indore to Bhopal, on the highway we saw two young boys and two young women. And in the car they are playing very loud Western music and they are holding champagne in their bottle and they are dancing, all of them. So these things were unheard of, now Kali Yuga has penetrated. So like this, things will go degraded, deteriorated, only devotees will be saved from all these things. So when they go there, when we come to the fag end of Kali Yuga, we see only sinful activities. There will be hardly some devotees who will be practicing in isolation, not visible for these sinful people, and just like happening in China, Japan, Prabhu knows better. So it's very tough. So in that time, Lord will come as Kalki with his sword. His preaching is chop off everyone. Because Krishna's killing and Krishna's saving devotees are on the absolute platform. All those who are killed personally by the Lord achieve salvation, or at least achieve some pious credits wherein Satyayuga will manifest and all the pious souls, and also there are many pious souls who are waiting for Satyayuga to start. It is not that all those souls who are existing already have taken birth in Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is an atmosphere for people, for sinful souls to take birth. There are many souls who are waiting for Satyayuga to come and they all take birth, and many souls, according to their karma, they may get shifted from other universe, this universe. So it's a very complicated scenario. Which soul will come from where and how they will get human birth. People speak of overpopulation. Actually, if you see, when you are traveling throughout India, entire land is empty. Huge land is empty. Where is overpopulation? Only in 4 or 5 metro cities, it is densely populated, and we see we don't have space to sleep, we don't have space to move around. Everywhere there is traffic jam, you are stuck up. It looks like whole India it is like this. No. It's sufficient, profuse space is there. So like that, in Krishna's arrangement, he will kill, many souls will get into Kali Yuga, and there are many souls who are waiting for Kali Yuga to come and practice austerities and continue their spiritual progress.
So Kali Yuga in fact is in the Swarga Loka and this Loka also, or in all the earth.
Because the time scale of each and every loka is different, so the happenings of those planets are different. Now Kali Yuga, Satyayuga, all these for earthly planetary system. Because 4,32,000 years for us in earthly planet is for our calculation. Our Kali Yuga 4,32,000 years, for Madhupadi Prabhu was giving an example. Now every year we do Ganesh Puja, and every day for Lord Ganesha, every day is passing, and every day he will receive worship. कल पूजा किया था, आज भी उठने के बाद दोपहर को पूजा चल रहा है. So like that, so the domain of activities there it is different because the bodies are different, the atmosphere is different. You imagine sun planet, all of them are having fire body. And the people who exist there, what they are doing in fire body, what kind of house they have. It's mysterious. So the time scale for Kali Yuga, Satya Yuga is all for our understanding on the earthly planet. As we go higher and higher, the time scales are different, and what is happening in those planetary systems, more information is there in Bhagavatam. You can read and understand. But Kali Yuga is for us mainly.
So those who will die in Satya Yuga, where they will go?
They will mostly get liberation. They are all yogis, mostly yogis, jnanis, and or bhaktas. One of these three. Or they will be following Karma Yoga. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains 4 different yoga systems, yoga ladder. They will all be following one of the yoga systems. Mostly it will be Dhyana Yoga, because meditation. They will be following Ashtanga Yoga to realize Supreme Lord, and they will realize Paramatma feature, and if they come in touch with pure devotee, then they will realize Bhagwan feature, and they will go back to Godhead. Or if they perform sinful activities, then they will get shifted to next yuga. So that the dahana karmano gati, the law of karma is very, very complicated. So what will happen to that soul? It is only Supreme Lord or His pure agents will understand how that soul will go from one planet to another planet, take different bodies, or go to another universe. So like while we are hearing Narada Muni's life, he was in another universe and he came here and he took birth as a small young boy. So interplanetary travel and inter-universe travel in different bodies, very difficult to assess from our limited brain.
Satya Yuga, there is no sinful activity.
It is mentioned in Vishnu Purana that it is 100% virtuous. All pious people exist.
Everybody will, there is no chance of back to Godhead.
No, there are chances. There are full chances of back to Godhead. But they have to take the hard way of practicing Hatha Yoga. And for practicing Hatha Yoga, favorable circumstances will be existing. Now, if you want to practice Hatha Yoga, Prabhupada is mentioning in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is also mentioning, there are no favorable forests existing for you to go and practice Hatha Yoga. Even if you go to the forest, somebody will come and disturb you. You have to sit in a solitude place, in a solace, and you should fully focus on controlling your breath, and then at one point of time you stop your breath, then focus on pulling the indriyas towards inside. Indriyas always are like impetuous servants, always trying to grab over indriya sense objects. So you have to pull the indriyas like a tortoise inside, and then you have to practice very tough meditation and control the mind, which is always prone for agitation. Even for the slightest agitation, your meditation may break. So very, very difficult in Kali Yuga. So 100% concession is given in Kali Yuga. Simply chant Hare Krishna. You will get the result what a yogi gets in Satya Yuga. Very easily. Simply you have to chant Hare Krishna. So Hare Krishna is your companion. You are chanting back Mala and you are chanting, this is your companion. Wherever you go, don't leave Hare Krishna mantra. You are going for preaching, you are here, you are taking bath, you are taking prasadam, every time, as much as possible. This is Sankirtana Yajna. This is the highest form of yoga which we can achieve.
Prabhu, in Satya Yoga, as you are told that 100% people are virtuous, pious. So demonic or demonic tendency people are also there. So that's why Lord appeared in the Satya Yoga also.
Yeah, demons will be there always.
So how it can be 100%?
100 is in the Lord's arrangement. You see, Prabhupada is mentioning, even those demons who came, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, who are all there? They were all actually devotees of the Lord. So devotees of the Lord come and participate in the Leela of the Lord to record in the history that this so and so demon was existing and Lord come and saved him. And Prabhupada says even to fight with Supreme Lord, one ordinary person cannot do that. So Lord selects his own devotee and then calls him to the material world. Supreme Lord also has a tendency to fight, so he satisfies his desire to fight with his own devotee who has come as a demon in Atri planet.
Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, they are on military forces too, so they are that military forces are only a demonic person. So how it can be 100%?
So it is in the Lord's plan that they will all perform the Leela of the Lord, we are saying who are doing the supporting roles for all the demon. So they now by Lord's arrangement, they are so fortunate that even the yogis who are trying very hard for meditation and then achieve the ultimate liberation, they may become impersonalists, but under Lord's mercy, when Lord appears, when there is disturbance in the entire universe, so they appear. Actually, you see, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, they are not confined to only earthly planet. They are not universal demons. They might have taken birth in earth, that is a different issue. So many demons from other planets also they come and they may hamper earthly situation. But earthly atmosphere is being given. In that earthly atmosphere, some demons like Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, they may take birth and they have so much power, they can take earthly planet and then throw it into Garbhodaka ocean. So where is earthly planet now? Earthly planet is now inside the ocean. So this is a general characteristic which is explained in Bhagavatam. And there will be exceptions under the Lord plan, where which demon has to come, how he will kill, and all that is going to support us, and Lord will kill them, they will also get liberation. So all that is mixed with the general characteristic of each and every characteristic of Kali Yuga.
So those military forces of that demonic military, so they also got liberation.
Yeah, whoever is killed personally by the Lord or in front of the Lord, there are different kinds of salvations which are mentioned in Bhagavatam. So ultimately, those souls will get benefit. So there is no loss, only profit. Last question. Yeah.
You talk about Kali Yuga. So when all very simple activity will start after 10,000.
After 10,000 years.
So
Correct.
you told that after that Lord will come and it's up.
At the end of Kali Yuga, when things are going to the highest degree, the peak of sinful activities, and people are unable to tolerate the pain, then Lord appears.
Then for them there is no punishment.
For whom?
They did so much sinful activity.
Yeah.
No. The Lord came and killed them. Then they will get liberation.
Yeah, even if you see the Kurukshetra war, almost all the 64 crore people were vanquished. Who were left out? Kripacharya was left out, Ashwathama was left out, 5 Pandavas were left out, and few more, 2-3 more. All of them are killed. Even who came on the side of Pandavas. So, Lord wants to give mercy even upon the sinful souls and liberate them. So, by Lord's killing all the sin what they have committed, they will forward. Just like we are all sinful people only.
Yes.
Now we are getting Hare Krishna mantra and we are chanting, and Lord is clearing up all the sinful reactions which is due for us, which is to come, in the future which is supposed to come. So in that way Lord is merciful for everyone. And He wants to protect His main business is protect the devotees and annihilate the demons. So when He does both, you see Lord Ram, here Prabhupada is mentioning how many demons He killed. He killed 14,000 demons in Treta Yuga. And actually Prabhupada is mentioning in Bhagavad Gita lecture, Lord Krishna also, more than protecting the devotees, his main business was killing demons. Every day one demon he was killing. So that Krishna killing the demon is not bad. It is all good for all those demons because the demonic mentality he is killing.
But it's good for them. They did so much sinful activity.
Yeah, they are fortunate souls who will come in contact eye to eye, face to face with the Supreme Lord, and they are so fortunate that they are killed by the Lord. But don't worry, because till the end of Kali Yuga, what will happen to us, we don't know. Those sinful souls who are in human bodies, that is what is mentioned. Now, if we are very sinful, immediately we may get an animal body or a bird body. So we don't know. It's all very difficult to comprehend who will be in those, who are those souls who will be in the human bodies at the end of Kali Yuga, and how they are so fortunate that because of their sinful activities they will come in front of the Lord and then get killed by the Lord. So Prabhupada is saying that is only for understanding. Now in this life itself we finish your business. Don't wait for Kali Yuga to end, and in this life itself you finish and you go back to Godhead, because it's very complicated. All these things are explained to make us understand everything is complicated here. Very, very complicated. Very, very complex. Vedana Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki.